coordinator Ivin Jasper keeps working, waits for a new heart for his son. Annapolis, MD. Outside the comfortable two-story house at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, a simple metal sign proclaims, "Beat Army." It is the only evidence of the most important goal, ever and always, for anyone associated with Navy football, and until now, that has included the Jasper family. This game, Donna Jasper says, as long as you win, all the little ups and downs we had all year long, it will take them all away and it will make the season better. And Ivin Jasper, Donna's husband and Navy's longtime offensive coordinator, acknowledges, "We're not having the year we want to have. But 1 week can change everything. One phone call, too." Jasper got one Wednesday afternoon, just before practice. It wasn't the one he has been waiting on for so many months now. But he dropped everything and left, uncertain when he might return. To beat Army means everything, until it means nothing. For the Jaspers, what matters is a teenage son with big dreams and a bad heart. Ivin Jasper is 14. He needs a heart transplant, which is why Ivin and Donna keep their phones very close at all times. When a call comes, they check for area code 202 and prefix 476, hoping it's from Children's National Medical Center in Washington, D.C., and praying it's a heart. Is this it? Ivin wonders. But it'll be confirming his appointment. Army-Navy, resurgent Black Knights on the rise. Army-Navy, Nayum Talilo brings Navy to forefront of service academies. Wednesday when his phone rang, it was something else. Joran had gone in for some tests. Doctors didn't like what they saw. Ivin didn't like what he heard. Thursday afternoon, the Jaspers returned home. Ivin went to practice. More tests are scheduled Friday morning. No one is certain whether he will coach Saturday against the Black Knights. Football? Beating Army? Really, none of that matters, Navy coach Ken Nayum Talilo says. Your kids, your family, lives are what matters. Joran and his family are in a fight for his. Giant photos of the Jaspers' 3 children playing sports adorn the walls of their home, as well as Ivin's office at the Naval Academy. Dallas, their daughter, is a junior volleyball player at St. Leo University in Florida. Jalen is a freshman volleyball player at Stanford. Joran, who was a fixture at Navy football practices since before he could crawl, is a very good athlete, too. And although his best sport might be basketball, he has played football since kindergarten. First at running back, then later receiver and quarterback, and was looking forward to playing on the freshman team at Broadneck High School last fall. Then during a routine physical exam last summer, a doctor detected an irregular heartbeat. A visit to a cardiologist followed, then to an electrophysiologist. And then August 4th, Joran underwent a catheter ablation, in which doctors attempt to destroy tiny portions of the heart muscle to arrest the irregular heartbeat. No one was especially concerned. Ivin Jasper had a similar procedure because of similar symptoms years earlier, when he was a teenager. That morning, from his office at the Naval Academy, Ivin texted Joran, "Don't be afraid, son. You'll be fine." Joran texted back, "I'm not," meaning he wasn't afraid. But soon, he wasn't fine. The procedure took longer than expected. And then Joran's heart swelled. And then it stopped. A nurse emerged from the operating room to provide a vague but troubling update, "We're having a little difficulty." Donna called Ivin, "Something's wrong. You need to get here." Ivin arrived less than an hour later, in time to hear another update, "We're doing all we can for him." You hear that in the movies sometimes, he says. I don't ever want to hear those words, "We're doing all we can for him." What do you mean? He came in, there's nothing wrong with him. We're doing all we can for him. They're talking like he's not gonna make it. I cannot believe this. That was the worst day. It was when our life changed. The days that followed were almost as bad. For a long while, when anyone asked Donna how they were doing, she'd tell them, "We're living in hell, and I don't know why." For a time, the Jaspers hoped Joran's heart would regain its function. But after several tenuous days, including an episode when doctors had to use a defibrillator to revive him. It became clear, the only option was a heart transplant. Donna recalls those first few days, sitting in a hospital room and pondering the future, and there was no light in it whatsoever. But every couple weeks, something would happen, she continues. The light would turn a little brighter. Ivin and Donna point to a moment, very early on, that provided hope. Although Joran was heavily sedated, doctors and nurses encouraged his parents to talk to him. Ivin entered the room and said, "Hey fathead," using an affectionate nickname, and Joran turned and lifted his arms toward his dad. "I just grabbed him," Ivin says, and a tear rolls down his cheek, "and I just held him." Joran remembers awakening in an unfamiliar room, unable to move. "I was confused," he says. "I just kind of lay there for a while. I didn't say anything. I was just thinking." Then he asked, over and over, what happened. Every time he asked that, Ivin says, "It hurt my heart so bad." In part, it's because there's still no real answer. Joran had passed a physical the previous year. Doctors aren't sure why his heart started beating abnormally. It could have been a virus that settled in the heart, but no one knows. The catheter ablation was supposed to be a minor, outpatient procedure, but something went awry. "He's 1 in a million, Donna says, that rare case, it's never happened before." On October 5, after 2 months in the hospital, Joran went home with a left ventricular assist device, LVAD, which was implanted to do the heart's work. Its battery-powered door plugged into the wall. Even so, life has settled into a routine. Tutors come a couple times a week. Friends occasionally visit, too. But Joran mostly spends his days hanging out in an oversized recliner in the family's living room, watching TV or playing video games. He struggles to walk because of nerve damage related to the placement, during those first days in the hospital, of an extracorporeal membrane oxygenation (ECMO) device, which took over Joran's heart function until the LVAD replaced it. But his leg is gradually getting better, and he says he rarely dwells on his situation. "I just kind of try to think about other things," Joran says. "I don't want to be sitting here just thinking about that and keep waiting and waiting." Although Joran initially dropped from 125 pounds on his 5'11" frame to below 100, he has since regained about 20. He retains his appetite and his grin, and he has a teenager's quirky sense of humor. Noting his dad's similar medical history, Joran laughs, "He just wasn't as unlucky as me." And as his mother describes watching doctors scramble to revive him, he interjects, "Code blue. Code blue." And later, when she begins to cry, he says, "Mom, I'm sitting right here." Last weekend, several of Joran's friends came over. They ordered pizza and headed to the basement, where soon enough, Ivin and Donna heard, thump, thump, boom. They knew what it was, but Donna was mildly upset when she went downstairs to find he was shooting baskets, too, in the game of horse. "It was just the ball coming off the backboard," Joran says, explaining the noise away as if that explains everything. But Joran sleeps on a mattress near his parents' bed. He sometimes reaches a hand up in the night to feel for his dad. Ivin doesn't mind. And then, after Ivin rises before dawn to head into the office, Joran sometimes asks Donna to lie with him. "This morning he wanted hugs," Donna says. "That is the greatest gift I could ever wish for." And Ivin adds, "The biggest thing was just getting him home. Obviously we've got a long road ahead of us, but just having him home. Now, it's so much better." When Ivin left the office that day in August, he didn't really return for several weeks. When Joran's status stabilized, he began spending more time with the team. Naum Tililo, who along with his wife Barbara is very close to the Jaspers, suggested Ivin take the entire season off, telling him, "This is the last thing you need to be worrying about." But Ivin asked Donna and Joran, who had a different idea. "I'll be fine," Joran told him. "Go to work, coach the guys and help us win games." "There's nothing you can do," Donna said. "The only thing is, when you're done, you come here and we're together every night." Ivin has mostly worked regular hours, up and out of the house early and back late. He says the season has been a release for him. But it has also produced a different, more difficult stress than he's ever encountered, and created a deeper fatigue than he has ever experienced. And when the season ends, Ivin plans with Niumatalillo's blessing to take some time completely away from football. His goal will be to help Joran back to health. And he dreams of a day when Joran has that new heart, and father and son take an RV across the country together, taking detours to sightsee, finishing in California where they'll visit Jalen. That's my next big coaching job, Ivin says, is to get him back. His current coaching job has amazed Niumatalillo, who says Ivin has been super strong. I don't know how he's done it, but I've been so impressed with him as he continues to care for his son and still do his job, Niumatalillo says. But the ones that's super impressive, too, is Donna. There's no rest for her. Donna and Joran spend most of their days at home, with occasional trips to a fast food restaurant, almost always just a trip to the drive-through window. Though Joran has accompanied Donna grocery shopping, he doesn't like to use the wheelchair and he struggles to walk. But some people stare. And when well-meaning strangers approach to say they're praying for him, they appreciate it. But for a 14-year-old, Donna says, it's kind of hard. Joran also remains a regular at Navy football practices, where he drives a golf cart and kids with the players. Afterward, he'll hang with his dad in his office. And when Ivin comes home at night, he finds Joran in that recliner or maybe on the couch, watching TV or playing video games. It all seems so, well, normal. Until about 9:30 or sometimes 9:45, when Joran announces he's tired and ready to go to bed. He stands, and there are batteries everywhere, Ivin says. He starts to walk, man, and he can just barely, that leg, he's dragging that leg. And reality sets in. He was such a wide-open energy. Loved playing sports. And I don't want to question, why him? And all that stuff pops up. I know the Lord has a plan, but I still go, why him? Just, why? For the Jaspers, there's also the jumble of emotion that goes along with hoping for a new heart while knowing how it becomes available, that somewhere, another family would go through unspeakable tragedy. Instead, they call it waiting for a miracle. Until then, in a week when nothing feels more important than beating army, what matters is a teenager's smile and those hugs. Remember how Donna Jasper told people they were living in hell? We're not, really, she says. I'm just thankful that my son is here.